What's going on? You live?
Is this Eric July of the Rippaverse?
Yes.
Well, I'm very excited to talk to you, Eric, and congratulations on 500,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited. And where's ESOM at? What monetary number are you at right now? 3.4?
Yep.
0.5?
That is correct.
Well, that's very big. So where do we go from here, Eric? That's the question. What is the future of the media landscape? Because you talk a lot about this idea of what do you call it, a parallel economy? What is the term you use?
I've talked about parallel economy, yeah.
Okay. Well, what is your vision for a parallel economy? Just the idea that there's a conservative economy and a liberal economy, or
no, it's just a decentralized economy.
So there's not two sides.
No.
Well, parallel makes me think of two.
No.
So decentralized.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah. An economy where people, maybe it's more, creator owned, but more kind of institutions, entities, whatever you call it, that are actually, doing their thing and being successful, let's say I think in any industry, but I focus a lot more on entertainment. So people that are kind of independent, doing their thing.
Well, you're basically saying getting away from the kind of mainstream grip that we've had for so long, where there have been gatekeepers in media who determine what TV shows get made, what comic books get published. You just kind of want to move into a space where those gatekeepers either don't exist or there's, it's basically more independent created media is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's, radical, and I totally agree with that. That's something I've advocated for as well. And I guess where me and you differ seems to be in what kind of products we think are going to lead us into that glorious independent future. I think my criticism of you have been that a lot of the excitement I see about your project is not necessarily based on storyline or characters, but merely that you exist as a kind of antidote to Marvel or DC or whatever people think the mainstream are doing. Would you disagree with that assertion?
It's a disagreement that I don't really care about. Let's say that. Whether I agree or disagree, to me, I don't think it's particularly relevant. I think whether it's the case or it's not the case, I think it's still beneficial to getting to that end game. But I think my customers that so far with the Rippaverse are people that are enthusiastic. They've come from different walks of life, different areas, and they are enthusiastic about the project. And that's good. I think that's certainly a positive.
My question is, you want other independent creators, and sorry to jump ahead of you, you want other independent creators to kind of follow in your footsteps.
Not really.
But
no.
my argument is,
I would say that's not necessarily accurate. The following in my footsteps, okay. I do believe that there's people that could maybe take, this is why we're so transparent, can maybe take something from what it is that we do, maybe implement it in their own ways, but there is no one way to do it. I think the problem when you look at like mainstream is that there has been, even especially through distribution, there's only one way that one or a couple of ways that people have done things, and it's not decentralized by any means. So for me, if it influences people or rather inspires people to go do awesome things, awesome. That's good. It's not about following in my footsteps, because not a lot of people are going to have $200,000 to put the money up to do what it is that I did anyway. So it's not about people following in my footsteps. It's more about, if people get inspired, and even if it's just one thing it is that I've done that they can implement in their own kind of way, in their own, doing their own thing, then that'll be great.
Well, a lot of my criticism has been that, and it's not necessarily aimed at you, but kind of people around you, some of these commentators who go, well, this is a big wake-up call for Marvel and DC. I disagree, because I look at Marvel and DC and I go, well, what could they do? Start hiring YouTubers and influencers to make comic books? I don't think that's a viable business strategy for them. But I think you would say, no, the wake-up call is that it's not political, right? And that's what people want.
Well, I think that's it's maybe part of it that people, maybe there's a bunch of customers, potential customers that feel kind of disenfranchised from with what's happened with the industry. Maybe they're turned off to what Marvel and DC certainly has done in their with their books, maybe as of recently, poor quality, and they see someone like myself who comes in and you know gives his kind of interpretation of comic books, the American, and told in like the American like storytelling kind of way, or whatever, and people are enthusiastic certainly about that, and that's a good thing. Like I say, that's an awesome thing. There's going to inevitably be people that see that and also do great things from it because of they're inspired, or maybe there was an idea that was given to them by way of something it was that I did, you know, or didn't do for that matter. Maybe it's something that I didn't do and they think that they can do better, and they do better and they see more success. So I think it's
well, I would
not.
say this. Sorry, yeah. And real quick, just so you know, I'm driving, so if I cut in and out, I'm sorry. I'm actually on the way to do my own podcast. I guess what I want to say is, Eric, I very much appreciate the spirit of independent creation. I think it's very exciting. I want there to be more indie creators doing exciting things. Where I've been upset is the way people are talking about your campaign. I'm not going to say you've positioned yourself this way, but there are people talking about your campaign like you've done something radical that's never been seen before. And I go, there are plenty of independent creators right now, or who have existed in the past, I don't know, dozens of years, who are making these comics we're talking about that aren't, you know, overloaded with political messages, which I also despise. I think it can go too far. I totally empathize with that. And I don't understand why I'm being told that what you're doing is so revolutionary. Do you think that this is a revolution you're starting here, or are you just a guy making a comic?
Maybe. If hell, I welcome it. If it's going to again inspire people to go out there and be great, then that's awesome. You know, or if they think that this is going to be something that they're going to be paying attention to, or one to keep up with for the upcoming years, then that's awesome as well. I will take that certainly, and I will have these guys as customers long term. I think I've given them good reason to be enthusiastic about this project. This is something I'm very knowledgeable on. I've been talking about in comics, you know, for a while now, and I've done creative things certainly in the past. And, you know, for my audience and people that are potential customers, they want to get in on it. And they're enthusiastic, and they have every, of course, right to be enthusiastic and stoked about it. And I think, again, it's a combination of multiple things that are culminating here, and this is why it's had the reaction that it has certainly had. And I don't think any of that, let's say, people being enthusiastic about it is, I think it's warranted.
Up on the point you just made about the enthusiasm, I understand that your fans are enthusiastic, but I think you have to also similarly understand that those of us in the industry who have seen publishers come and go, big creators promise the world, we're treating you with a level of skepticism, because lots of comic book companies have come out and done huge. Valiant came out and did huge. You know, Image at its heyday.
Let me just say this. I will say this. I don't care that you guys are skeptical, to be completely honest. That's not anything that's really important to me.
Skepticism, you're very unwilling to hear. I don't know. I mean, let's be fair. I'm throwing a little bit of shade. I'm having fun. I am a commentator. If I've been overly harsh, I'm sorry. It's just part of Twitter.
Okay.
But yes, we have skepticism, and I don't understand why, you know, there's these commentators in the community who I think are supposed to be skeptical of media. They're very skeptical of anything that the mainstream does. Marvel, DC, they'll tell you, well, it's probably going to be garbage. It's probably going to be bad writing. We don't know. For you, they're kind of giving you a pass. They're saying, Eric's our boy. He can do no wrong. Esom is going to be the greatest comic of all time. And when I see that, I go, well, that's not reasonable. If these guys are true critics and commentators, shouldn't they have some skepticism? We haven't read the book. We know very little about the story. And I kind of am questioning their takes on it. Do you think you're being given, you know, kind of a big push from your buddies?
I think that there are plenty of commentators. Is that fair to
their audiences?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of commentators that are supporters of mine, that are fans of mine, fans of my previous art projects, and they believe in their friends or people that they have been keeping up certainly with. Again, that's one of those things that you're going to have to discuss that with him if you want them to be saying a specific thing. I don't know what it is that you actually want them to criticize.
I know you're not saying it, and that I guess just the frustration is when I see guys whose job is to be critical about media, and they go, Eric July is the next Stan Lee. I go, guys, you can be a little less hyperbolic with this, okay? And I want your, honestly, Eric, I hope your comic is great. I want to read it. I hope it's good. But I'm naturally skeptical.
Again,
okay?
That's the part that I don't care about. Like,
before,
and that's cool, man, because if you
it's fine if you don't care, I'm just telling you.
Right, and that's but you know, as far as this, it's like whether you're skeptical or not, the books are going to always be around. And if you decide to change your mind and you want to be a customer in the future, it'll be there. But your gripe right now seems to be with other creatives that have absolutely nothing to do with me. And I would argue that you should take that issue up with them. If you do have a problem with what they're, I guess, not saying about my particular project or my specific book, there very well may be a confusion as on your behalf as well, as far as what they have been critical of in the past, as far as what their direct criticism is. Maybe it's a confusion there. Maybe you think that they are supposed to have a position that they're supposed to have, and they don't actually have that, which may be why they're not saying what you want them to say or expect them to say about my specific project. So again, for me, the books are always going to be around. If you want them, but if you do have a specific problem with how a certain creative, I don't know which ones that you maybe have in mind, but if you have a problem with those creatives and what they're not saying, you should probably take that up with them.
Well, I also take issue with, you kind of leaning into this idea that you're the antidote to Marvel and DC. Because again, I see plenty of independent creators who have been doing the same thing that you're doing. So what is it specifically that I'm supposed to? Why is the Rippaverse God's gift to comics? Why not indie comics in general?
If you don't get it, maybe it's not something that is appealing, let's say, to you as far as what we are presenting. But that's the beautiful thing about the market, is that maybe you're not as privy to it, or you don't like this, or maybe it's something that you don't really want to invest in. But there's other people, thousands of other people, that have made their decision that this is something worth keeping up with, and something that they are going to be very they're obviously showing how enthusiastic they are about that. So it's not about us trying to
enthusiastic. Go ahead.
Well, it's not that to me, it's not that. It's less about me being God's gift to comics. I think it's less about that. I think it's more about, hey, this is a creative guy who has a creative project, and I've presented it in a way. I've given my public code of ethics. I've talked about these things that I care about, and what we're going to be emphasizing. The transparency element. I think it's angled. It's multi-angled. Like it's certain people have gotten here and gotten enthusiastic about this project for various different reasons. I think it's a combination, certainly, of all of that.
Well, let me tell you what really, probably the biggest problem I have. Now, I would say you're probably a guy who take issue with this kind of woke marketing, right? Like Pride Month shows up, everybody changes their icon to a pride flag, and the Skittles are a rainbow and whatever else. It feels like I'm not being sold a product. I'm being sold a culture war. I'm being sold a identity of some sort, right? Do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way about what you've been selling me. I feel the same as looking at a bag of rainbow or whatever, white pride Skittles, whatever the fuck they are. I feel like I'm not being sold a book, being told, hey, here's, how great the characters are and the story are. What I'm hearing, and, all the news coverage around it, is that, well, it's anti-woke. It's a part of the culture war. We're going to win. We will win this war against the woke monotony. And frankly, I don't like products that are trying to sell me based on the culture war. I want to know what's in the book.
Well, there's
we did this with Gina Carano's new cowboy movie. Real quick, I want to give an example where all the ads I get for it are not, hey, this is a great cowboy movie with a great story. It's the evil leftists canceled Gina Carano, and this is your chance to make a stand by watching our stupid cowboy movie. To me, it feels very transparent. And it makes me worry that your product doesn't really have any bones if you're forced to rely on what I would consider a marketing gimmick.
Well, I've paid $0 in advertisement. I've not done such a thing, and the term woke or even mentioning wokeness or anything has not been a part of any trailer, any like on our website, whether it be with the campaign story or any of that. None of that is present at all. It's not there. It doesn't exist. We've certainly been leading with the.
But you lean into it. Let's be
no,
real.
I don't.
Multiple news articles.
Yes,
call your comic anti-woke.
I've seen that, but I've never presented my comic as anti-woke. Never once have I done that.
So are you going to? Then let me ask you a question: is your comic not anti-woke?
My comic is, if I would say it's not woke. No, I wouldn't say it's anti-woke because I'm not making a comic.
Those news articles are incorrect.
The ones that maybe say anti-woke, yeah, there can be some inaccuracies there because I'm not doing this to be antithetical to what they do in action. So basically presenting something, I don't know, in a parody or something of them.
I'm glad you're willing to admit that, but you from me on my side, I see a bunch of news sites saying anti-woke.
That's not my. That's not
these articles.
Yeah, and that's fine and all, but like I said, like none of that stuff is present on anything that I've talked about as far as like we look at our trailers, you look at our promotional stuff and all our campaign
Eric,
stuff. It's not
like
there.
You benefit from that perception.
Me benefiting
around it and you retweet it.
Well, me benefiting from people that think that this is the anti or the as you mentioned as the anecdote is. That's one thing, and that's fine. I'm perfectly, if I'm going to benefit from it, awesome. I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. But to get to gripe about something that I haven't personally presented it as, especially, I mean, it's even less about that because you then would have to, if you're going to say like that's the thing that people that I'm leaning into or like that's the main controlling dominant thing, it's kind of disingenuous considering the numerous amounts of fan art that's been out there. We already have all these people that are doing videos about, what's going to happen in theory and all that stuff. Animation. We've had continuous like animation that has been brought up, and like I think it's being a little disingenuous to act like, oh well, that's what people leaning into. Well, what about the fan art and the other thing, cosplays? Like I had two people cosplay when I was at Anime Matsuri. I think that's worth mentioning as well, and that didn't have anything about to do with the wokeness.
If you got thousands of backers, I would expect a couple cosplays.
Yes, exactly. So there's that.
Eric, I personally am the kind of guy who, if someone tells me I made an anti-woke comic book, or if they're retweeting articles about how their comic is anti-woke, I go, well, this is not something that I'm excited about. That does not excite me.
Well, that's what you would do, and you're certainly welcome. I don't know if you are a creative person at all, but you're certainly welcome to do whatever you feel like is certainly best for your project, if that's something like that you do or do not want to do. When I talk about the decentralized kind of economy, certainly in entertainment, I encourage you to do that. So if there's something that you want to do or you think that that this is a way that it should be done, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But like,
well, I'm glad you bring that up because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm currently working on a comic book called you can view at Super. Book with a great story. Quagmire that has been driven into the ground, and people are being worked up into a frothing mess over it. We're now cheering that movies and cartoons are getting canceled because they might have been woke. I saw yesterday Heel vs. Babyface is excited that a follow-up to Batman the Animated Series got canceled because it's woke. Frankly, this kind of rhetoric seems to be about canceling creators rather than lifting them up. We're going to cancel all the movies and TV shows because they might be woke. Even if the Batgirl movie is woke, I still want it to get made. I want to see it, and I can critique it and pull it apart, even if it sucks. I feel like we're entering a very anti-art, anti-creator sentiment with this "we must destroy woke media." Yes, I think there's some terrible stories and political media out there, but I think that this war is getting out of control, and I think we need to refocus on what is quality. And I'm hoping your book is quality, Eric. I'm going to hopefully get a copy, read it, and I hope that you can back it up. But I must say that all this anti-woke marketing stuff, whether or not how active you are engaging in it, I don't know, is odious to me. And I think, honestly, if it works, you're right. Under capitalism, it made you millions of dollars, so God bless your heart. But you have to understand there's going to be guys like me that think it's just...
that's already expected. Again, the thing is, I just don't care. Like if that's how you feel about it, I'm not. There's no way that I can obviously impress.
You take this culture war seriously. Yes?
Well, of course I do, but again, like legitimately, I don't expect to have every single person on board with everything it is that I do. I just don't.
Like leftist. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just like. Yeah, my thing is, like I said,
I'm
like
going into a tunnel. Hold on.
If people are critical, and I say this, I guess, to the audience while he's doing whatever he's doing, if people are critical of it, let them be critical, certainly of it. They can do whatever it is that they want to do. But I'm not in the business of trying to, definitely to some folks that I don't know, I'm not in the business of trying to convince them in the event that they've already made their mind up because they think I should be doing something their way. I'm not in the business of actually trying to, like, adjust because they are themselves skeptical. I don't really care about that. That's not particularly important to me.
Well, I think because this is, again, the culture war is very near and dear to you, and you do believe that you're launching a meaningful volley against, I don't know, I assume some leftist cabal that's trying to destroy media or something like that, yes?
I think that this is something that will show folks that...
Or groomers, or trying to turn everybody gay, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's just more of I am doing something independently, and it's showing people that those folks that have certainly felt disenfranchised, be it with entertainment or whatever, have a lot of power and stuff like, let's say, influence in their capacity to make something happen. You know what I mean? We don't have to necessarily put up with all of this terrible media or terrible entertainment or whatever. The fact that that's showing people that this is very well possible and you can certainly be competitive in it, I think is an awesome thing. And that's what it's about. So hopefully it does influence other people to get out there and be great.
Well, here's the one thing I would hope from you is you've clearly managed to establish yourself, whether or not you like it or not, as a figurehead in what is a burgeoning independent comics movement, one you seem to care very much about, as you're trying to establish this parallel economy where indie creators can thrive. So the thing I'm hoping to see from you, and, let me know if this is a ridiculous wish of mine, is that you use this position that you've created for yourself, that you are the hottest thing in comics, and you've raised millions, that you will elevate other independent creators. And not just guys that are, your buddies, because I know you'll do that, of course. But I would love to see on your channel, okay, I'm going to dig through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and just this is a book I found that's cool, whatever else. Because if you're really interested in creating this parallel economy, you're going to need, allies. And I would hope that you're going to pick allies not just based on, political friendships, but based, again, on the quality of the product. Who's got cool art? Who's got a good story? Is that anything I could expect to see from
well, I've already done that. There's been plenty of people that, hell, I was just on with Graham Nolan yesterday, the great Graham Nolan, who is doing his own thing with Compass Comics. Was just on with him. Of course, we've talked about, my man's Gabe El Taib and True Justice in the American Way and what he's doing. There, I've had, other creatives on this channel, Shane Davis.
I think you align politically with.
Not necessarily. A lot of those guys are conservative. I'm not conservative, so there's that.
Yeah, you guys share a lot of the same opinions on certain issues.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're politically aligned. That just means we're cordial.
Colorist. It's a guy personally. I want you to pick some random guy.
Well, that's not really in my. All right. Well, maybe if I feel like it, I'll certainly do that. But if I can, I also believe in networking, and if there's other people that I come across that I feel like it's worth giving them a shout out or whatever, they send me a book or something like that, and they say, hey, check out my work. work, I'll give it
If you want to build
a
this parallel
pump.
economy, I think that's how you have to do it. I
Well,
think you have to lift other people up.
I'm not in the business. Let me ask you
But
this.
don't ask people to kiss the ring either.
Yeah, but that's not my thing. I've never asked anybody to kiss the ring at all, ever. So I don't know why you would even expect me to do that. Oh, why that would even be said
I'm not saying you in particular, but a lot of people, reach this kind of level.
Well,
I can think of people in comics who, have a very insular group that kind of works to keep other people out, and the mainstream does it as well, of course.
Well, like I said,
so I hope you'll,
I've already done. I think I have enough evidence that proves that I'm already willing to do that. I've done that. And fantastic. Like I said, we've had people on For Cannon's Sake that we've talked about their books, their Indiegogo's, their projects, and everything that they're doing. We've already done that, so that's not anything that we need to hope to do. We've already done it. So.
Well, I mean, I can hope it continues.
Yeah,
I'll take your word that you're doing it.
Yep.
And if you, it's got to be all about the creators. It's got to be about empowering the indie guys. And I hope you are truly committed to that in the way that you say you are. You say you are. I don't have the facts in front of me, but I'll take your word for it. How's that?
Yeah, say I am. I don't know if you have. First of all, let's be clear. I never said that I was going to be giving anybody any charity. Certainly nobody gave that to me by any means. All right. Well, no, it's what it sounds like. That's what you're like. Hey, go pick a. No, that's not what it is that I do. Maybe I will, like what Aerith did. Big shout out to Aerith.
Again, if you see something you like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I see something, of course. Yeah.
This is a good project.
Right. And I've already done that. Yeah. That's something that I've already done. Like I said.
And I applaud you.
Yeah. I've already done that. So if that's all that it is, hey, I see something I like.
Indie guys are going to get ahead. Is you can't. And you know this, and I'm not saying this is not a lesson for you. It might be a lesson for other people. A rising tide raises all ships. All right?
Yeah.
Did I get that backwards?
No, that's what people do. That's what people have said, and a lot of people have seen boost from even the Ice On project already. Like again, at Gabe El Taib and his thing that he does that I have no connection to, which was Justice in the American Way. We saw Chuck Dixon and his project get funded. He came on my show with the Ninja Hunter Bear deal. He came on my show. We talked about that. We ended up getting that funded as well. So yeah, like all of this, what you hey, I hope you lift up. We've already done that. So we've been there and done that. So
fantastic. Well, Eric, I'm going to have to cut this short. Again, I'm about to go do my podcast. But I'm going to say this. I'm a skeptical guy. I don't like the political stuff. That is why I've been hesitant to celebrate your success, which is very based in a political sphere. But I'm hoping that that's not all you are. I'm hoping that it's a great book. I'm hoping that you do manage to create a parallel economy that celebrates indie creators, because that is also something I am very excited about. So let's put it this way. I'm hesitantly optimistic after our conversation.
Sweet. Sounds good to me.
I hope that what you have said is truly what's in your heart. And I tell you what, Eric, I want to send you when my comic's done. Let me know how much it sucks.
Sweet.
I would appreciate your input as a fellow creator.
Sweet. Sounds good.
All right. God bless, Eric. I look forward to fighting with you on Twitter some more.
That won't happen, but yep, peace out. As a creative, and this is my advice to you guys that are out there, don't be that guy, right? Because he's coming from a complete point of jealousy, right? It's like, hey, I have a problem with people being enthusiastic. It seems like they're enthusiastic for this reason as opposed to this reason, which is what they should be. If it was like, go do it, right? Like definitely if you have your own projects, not sure what his project is, don't really care. But apparently he has his own thing. He is far welcome to implement what he thinks makes sense for his thing. You know what I mean? If it works, it works. But that ain't got nothing to do with me. But just as advice to you guys who are fellow creatives, don't do. That's an example of how not to be. You don't see someone's success and then get sour because they are seeing that success. That's not a way to be. I don't care who you are or who that person is. Like, it's one thing to disagree, let's say, on what it is that they do, but he even uses a term. He's upset that people look at this in a certain way. You don't want to be caught up in that shit. as a creative. Fuck that shit, man. Like, get out there, go be fucking great. And I don't look at other people, especially other independent creatives. I don't look at other independent creatives doing their thing, you know what I mean, and be like, oh man, that should be me. And I don't like that people are enthusiastic because they're enthusiastic about a reason that's different from what I would be enthusiastic. Like, it's kind of whack, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of whack, but anybody's welcome to give it a shot. There's no one way to do anything. That's the point of their decentralized economy, in that there's not one way to do anything. So if you think that you can do something the right way, as some would deem, then go do it. Give it a shot, and good luck. Yo, I appreciate you as always. And if you're into comics or want to get into them, go visit Rippaverse.com, where you can check out my own comic book company, Rippaverse Publishing. Our first book, ISOM #1, is currently up for pre-order right now. You can also check out the company trailer and the ISOM campaign trailer so that you can make an informed purchase. We've cleared over $3.3 million in sales, and many of our supporters are viewers just like yourselves. And because of that, I have to thank you all personally. I do appreciate you. I can't wait for you to learn more about ISOM himself and already fan favorite Yaira. We ship internationally, so no matter what side of the globe you're on, we'd love to have you as a customer. Much love and big thanks.